Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live hosted by me. I won't be on too long. I was having difficulties for the last couple hours trying to get on and whatnot. So I just really wanted to just see how this works right now, just to see if I can get this. I was just happy to get a live start and everything. My internet was just really having a lot of problems. So anyway, where's that retouch? Here it is. Okay. So let's moving on, to this question. I'm only gonna stay on too long, not too long, but you can also like and subscribe in the comments and leave your comments and questions and all that too. And specifically about this topic that we're talking about tonight. Yeah. So anyway, so I just started reading Darcy Coates. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of her, but she does horror and she's actually a really good read, honestly. I just read Ghost Photograph and I think that is well deserved into a movie actually. So it's about this girl, she's at a wedding and it's like right next to this old lighthouse and she goes into this lighthouse and she finds this old Polaroid camera, like a 90s Polaroid camera. It's pretty cool, honestly. And then she starts taking pictures and she sees these images in the background, really, really subtle images of like ghosts in the background, would appear to be poltergeists. And then the more pictures that she takes, the closer they get actually. And this girl, she has a roommate and everything, and it's really interesting. I mean, the dialogue is a little weird, but like it gets really into it. I really feel like I'm watching a Blumhouse movie. I don't know why this has not been made into a movie. Honestly, I just started reading Darcy Coates, and she's a really good horror, and she's actually pretty clean, and she gets right to the point. She's not over the top. I mean, she's pretty good at finishing. And I've talked about this in the last live. I've always been a diehard Stephen King fan, and I was most of my life. But he has his faults and everything. I mean, I think he's better at creating monsters and creating scary atmospheres, and he is a master of horror. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's the best at finishing books as always as some others. But I mean, no, he does a good job. But don't get me wrong, but like I was always wanting to try to stray away from him and try to find somebody who's so much easier reading, who just gets right to the point. And I feel like I'm watching like a scary movie or whatever. And I do feel that way when read Stephen King, but I feel like something that would be so much easier because Stephen King creates all these characters that are really hard to transmit to a big screen, and so I think I think that's the thing about Stephen King. His are hard to narrow down in some sense. His characters are really complex to put on a big screen. But Darcy Coates, I've read two of her books already. And the one was Ghost Photograph, good read. Definitely go check it out if you haven't. If you like scary stuff and you like haunted house stuff, because I love haunted house and that kind of stuff, scary ghost story, good classic ghost story. I think this really was a solid classic ghost story, really really good, well worth the read, and definitely deserves a movie. And there's another one I'm just starting to read, but it's actually more of a murder mystery. It's called Dead of Winter. I just started it, but it actually looks pretty good. Actually, I mean that's why I like this girl. I mean this is why I like Darcy Coates. Because she's really easy reading and she's actually pretty good. And it's pretty simple and it just feels like classic horror, honestly. Like, so this the couple, a guy and a girl, they go on the skiing trip and they're in Colorado and they're like with a group of people and they're going on a bus to this high mountain, to this log cabin for the weekend to go on this skiing resort. And what happens is I think the bus breaks down and at one point, and because there's a big snowstorm and like I think the boyfriend gets separated, but then eventually they all make it to the cabin. And, I left off where she's looking for a boyfriend. And supposedly one person in the cabin is a killer, actually. And slowly everybody gets unalived. So it's a really interesting, supposedly it gets really graphic. So I haven't gotten that far, but, I'm not going to spoil it for you because I haven't even gotten that far anyway. But yes. Anyway, you haven't read Darcy Coates. I think a lot of her books, I want to read Craven Manor. I want to read a lot of her books, actually. They look really cool. Hello, Joyce. How are you? And hello, Twike, 2002. How are you doing? So yeah, yeah. What do you guys think? Is there a book that has not been made into a movie that should be made into a movie? Let me know. I mean, like I'm all about original and classic, and originality. I mean, drama, horror, suspense, anything. I mean, like I don't read as much, and I didn't grow up being a big reader, but like I really need to start reading more often. But I'm just really picky about what I read. I have to be really interested in the book, honestly. Otherwise, it's going to take me forever. And I'm a slow reader, so Anyway, The Door. I've never heard of it. I don't know who that by. Who's that by? If it's a good read, let me know. Economic Hitman. Well, interesting. I don't read that much, but I just started reading more often, and I'm trying to. I just started reading Darcy Coates, and I really, really like her. So yeah. Okay, well, you guys, you keep commenting. I'll definitely probably, if I'm gonna look these titles up if they are actually are titles of books. So that sounds really cool. Yeah, I like it. If you guys care to explain, what these books are about or a little bit, then that's cool too. Because, like I said, I haven't read in a very long time. I read a certain amount of books when I was a kid, but that was it. I actually grew up. I grew up, reading classic books, honestly, and I read a lot of books about Catholic saints because I was raised Catholic. So, but I did read a lot of like Journey to the Center of the Earth, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and my favorite book growing up actually was Frankenstein. That was actually one of the first books that I ever read, and I could read that book over and over again. I actually do like that gothic horror book. That is amazing. So, anyway, guys, any questions, concerns, comments, or anything, about the question, you want to elaborate? The floor is your guys's. So, anyway, anyway, so, I try to go live a lot earlier, but I was having a lot of problems. The Door is a Horror. Okay, okay. And who's the author and what's the name of the author by? I'll have to look that up then. I mean, it sounds familiar, but there might be a lot of books actually titled that. And that's the thing about books. I mean, there's so many books that probably have the same title and everything and have so many authors. There's just so many out there. I need to start reading more often. Shayla Noman. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so you say it's a pretty easy read, pretty good read, honestly. Like, I just started reading Darcy Coates. She's really good. She's really easy reading. She gets right to the point. I don't really like writers who are overly descriptive. I mean, I think that's what makes writing so beautiful. And, what makes a writer, somebody who's overly descriptive. Because, I was terrible at comprehensive when I did comprehensive literature because I was just not overly descriptive. You have to use a lot of descriptive words, to paint a picture for your audience to when they're reading. So. So anyway, but yeah, that sounds cool. Why? Right. Thank you so much, Tweaky, for your input. I really appreciate it. Okay, yeah, I don't either, honestly, but I just started reading again. I read, a few, right, I probably read maybe 10 books in the last since I've been alive. And I know that sounds really sad, but I just started reading again. And I'm gonna try to start reading more often. So yeah. Audiobooks, I do better with audiobooks. I do a lot better. I having somebody read to me is a lot better for me to listen in, honestly. But yeah. I have to make sure that it's the right speaker because I mean, it doesn't stop for you. I mean, it's the right tone of listening to. So yeah, yeah, it's that kind of thing. So anyway, so but that's cool. I really appreciate it. Hmm. Anyway, I'm sorry. Last weekend, I really wished, the place that I went to, I was really disappointed in. And I was, but I wasn't. But I haven't explored it. My dad said he went up there because this lake is like right down the street from my parents, and I went there last weekend, but it just looked like it was really blocked off. And not blocked off, but there was really not that many entrances where you could fish. So yeah, I wasn't able to. I mean, I think it was kind of the fact that it was in the middle of nowhere. There was just no cell towers, where I could connect to my hotspot to that well. That worked really well. So it started lagging a lot. But we'll find a good spot next weekend if we go fishing. So anyway, bear with me, guys. Anyway. And that's the other thing I should read more often too, because and I like reading, books that like, oh wow, I feel like I'm watching. I actually like reading books that I feel like I'm watching a movie or something. I feel like yeah, it's it's one of those things. Yeah, like I feel like there's a writer can really create an atmosphere, not be too overly descriptive, and not reflect on non-essential things in a book and just get right to the suspense or the outline of it. Hello, Corsian. How you doing, Shane? So anyway, hello, how you doing? So yeah, I think that's what it is. And when I read Darcy Coates, that's what I feel like. So yeah. Listen, I just started reading there. In my room, I mean, I live with people, but no, I mean, I'm in my room alone. Yes. I have my brother lives across the is across the right outside. How you doing? Not too bad. I saw you not too long ago. It's not been that long. I usually post like 3 or 4 times a week now, honestly, or I go live like 3 or 4 times a week. I remember when I used to just make one short once a week, but like now I just make like I usually do 3 or 4. Um, um, I remember when I used to just do one short a week, but yeah, I mean, I probably would have gotten to these subscribers that I had a lot faster now, and I've been on YouTube for almost 2 years now. Yeesh. How are you? You read books or anything? You have anything to add to what we're talking about? Reading books and a book that you think should be turned into a movie? I was just going by the books that I read, and like I said, I don't read that many, but I'm trying to get into that habit. But I try to prefer audiobooks. I do better with having somebody read something to me. And the last audiobook that I read was The Shawshank Redemption. That was amazing. A phenomenal book. Phenomenal movie too, yes. And I did talk about that in the one of my lives a while, like over a year ago. That was last Halloween. So anyway, well, I'm not gonna stay on too much longer. I was just seeing who's on, seeing how everybody's doing. I hope everybody's having a good week. Like I said, guys, 3 weeks from now, no, 3 or 4 weeks, we are planning on a big trip and going to Philadelphia, and we're gonna do a lot of live chatting and everything. So it's gonna be really good. You guys gonna have a lot of great content, and we're going to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, and we're going on the 250th anniversary of July 4th. So we know it's going to be packed and it's going to be crazy. So I hope to God I'm just going to be able to go to the places that I need to go to, just to get the content that I want. But I know it's going to be crazy, but we're gonna make do. A lot of great content for you guys to watch coming up on the 4th of July weekend. It just sucks. My flight leaves at 2 in the morning, so yeah, I'm not gonna get much sleep. But anyway, is what it is. It's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And that's what I'm thinking to myself. Yeah, 99% of books are movies. Yeah, good books are movies. I really like to, and what I was talking about. I'm the type of person, like I like to when I read a book, I want to feel like I'm watching a movie because I feel like that's kind of like a reader or a writer can do that. Not be overly descriptive about unimportant things, just get right to the point and, be descriptive when need to be, but, just get right to a point where I feel like I'm just reading and skimming through. So, I feel like, and, the person that I'm reading right now, I feel like a lot of their books should be turned into movies. But no, that is agreeable. So yeah, but there's a lot of books that are just overly descriptive, and some of them, writers aren't perfect. They overly describe unimportant things, honestly, and they just put a lot of stuff in there that would be difficult to transport to a big screen. So, but yeah, that is a good point, though. I like it. But those are the type of books that I want to read. I want to read the 1%. That are not movies, and specifically, I like horror. I like ghost stories. I haven't gotten into suspense. I haven't gotten into drama. I don't know if I would really like drama. I know drama is really drawn out, but like especially in a book. But some people like it. I like more fast-paced thrillers or scary, like ghost stories. That is a good point, though. All right. So, one of you guys might know the 1% of the movies that are not made into books, and that's what I want to hear about. I mean, tell me something about like a book that's just so fascinating that you just can't put down. That was just so good. I mean, I guess it also depends on what you like. I mean, there's horror fiction, there's historical fiction too that somebody was talking about the other day, and which was really interesting. But like, well, I mean, like the atmosphere and well, I mean, you call it scary. I mean, I guess it really depends on how you view scary or whatever. But like, you can consider a horror book, or like a book about ghosts and a book about monsters or vampires. That's scary. That's considered scary. I mean, a book about dinosaurs, that's like science fiction or history. So yeah, if you're gonna categorize, I think writers can actually, choose the right words and be really descriptive and, make a book like very eerie and just very a little bit nerve wracking to read or whatever. My mom used to read a lot of vampire books. I don't know. I always try to tell her which author it was, but like she said, I had to put them down. That was so scary. They were creepy because I read them at nighttime or whatever. But also, I guess it depends on startle reflex, or if you're like one of those people that scared of the dark or something too. So yeah, I guess that all factors into it. I guess it is more creepy if you're listening to it on an audiobook too. You depending on the person's voice that you're listening to it from. So yeah, yeah, I think there's a lot of factors into it that can make it that way, make it eerie. But no, I guess yeah, you're right. Now you're not gonna have the same, type of suspense or be on the edge of your seat when you're watching a movie as opposed to reading a book. I see your point there. But anyway. I was hoping to see more people on, but I guess not. Just one of those nights. I suck. That's all good. I had a few people on. I like some of the input that we've heard so far, so I think we've had some really good input. Kind of cool. Wish I could stay on longer, but I was trying to make a live for the last couple hours, so it's just one of those days where the internet was just giving me a lot of problems and, just kept lagging. And I finally got to go on, so we're good. Mm, mm. I guess that's okay because this is going to be a short live anyway, so still fun though. I think if we had more people on that were more avid readers, that we'd have a much more deeper discussion, and I think that we have a lot of interesting input to talk about. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a short night for me anyway, so I mean it's okay. Otherwise, I'd be stuck on here if I saw more and more people actually getting into the question that I was asking. Oof, Bill, Bill felt like I was about to pop. Mhm. Well, I guess it's one of those nights. Not many people on, so that's all good. I think we'll do another segment on this, honestly, though. 'cause this is a pretty interesting topic to talk about. I'm sure a lot of people who do read actually would really have a really good input to put on this. So yeah, I think I'll do another of this live because I didn't get to finish this one. As I feel like there's so much more to talk about this on this topic. So because I also read like there's another thing like Reddit, but it's called List First. It's very similar to Reddit or whatever, and very similar to Reddit, and like you can I mean, it talks about everything, lifestyle, creepy stories, talks about disappearances, murders, and everything. And it does talk about like this topic, several books that should have been turned into movies, and they're not, and they're actually pretty interesting. Anyway, oh boy, getting tired. All right, guys. Well, I guess it's time to call tonight. Well, I think we're going to do another segment on this, honestly, because this is a pretty interesting topic, and I think we'll have a lot more fun discussing this with some more interesting people. I'm sure there's a lot more intelligent and a lot more avid readers out there that are really, really into book reading that probably could really give some good input on this. So I think we'll leave it at that, and we'll do this again actually this week because I really wanted to discuss more about this. Well, guys, it was really nice. Oh shoot, here we go. We got somebody. Oh, we got more people. Hmm. Well, guys, this was a really nice topic. Too bad we couldn't elaborate more, get more into depth into it, But like I said, I think we'll do a continuation of this. We'll put a lid on this until the weekend. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks everybody for joining. This was a nice meeting everybody. Nice seeing some peeps. So, hope we'll see some more this weekend, and we'll have much more to talk about. And definitely got a lot more cooking coming up, and fishing as always. All right, guys. Well, have a great night and don't forget to like and follow. And as always, happy cooking, everybody. Bye.